How would you view this sort of behavior coming across from Helen Clark and John Key?
For me, it's water off a duck's back. It doesn't worry me. It's part of our robust democracy, if you like. I'm happy to talk to them about it. Sometimes they might have a point, other times we disagree, and we'll have to agree to disagree. But that's okay. I'm not precious about it. It can get a bit rough, but that's the game we're in.
Do you feel that TV3 is susceptible to being held for ransom, dictated to by the powers that be?
No, we're not susceptible to being held to ransom. We're not susceptible to any sort of influence by them at all. We're a very strong independent broadcaster, and under no circumstances will we bow to any sort of political pressure. But
in this particular issue, it has been the other way around, actually, contrary to what you're saying.
No, it was my decision to cancel the debate. Totally my decision. TVNZ have carried on and run theirs, but that's their choice. I just don't see the point. I don't see that you can have a proper debate without the two main party leaders there. I mean, one of the key subjects of that debate would have been the government's record over the past 3 terms. How are you going to have that debate without Helen Clark there? Another major factor in that debate would have been who can work with National. If National wins, as the polls are showing, what sort of government are we going to have? How are you going to have that debate without John Key there? It's a nonsense, and I wasn't prepared to inflict this nonsense on the viewers. So we haven't caved in to any politician. We've just made a decision that these issues are better dealt with in another way, like having John Key interview the minor party leaders at Campbell Live. So, yeah, I'm not sure how much more assurance I can give you in this area. But, you know, the politicians, I mean, one of the things I've got to understand is that, you know, the viewers aren't all that interested a lot of the time in what they've got to say. You know, the viewer's future depends more on their immediate employers, the world economic situation, Alan Bollard, etc. You know, the government, if you like, or the New Zealand political system is only a part of this big fabric. But they tend to think that, you know, they're sort of dominant world powers, these politicians. Well, you know, we've got news for them. They're not.
I mean, like you mentioned and spoke about having a meeting with Helen Clark a couple of months back,
yes,
wherein she personally told you and about her discomfort at,
yes,
you know, being clogged with so many people,
yes,
the debate. Could you expand on that?
She certainly felt that the multi-party debates are messy because of the numbers involved, and I don't disagree with her on that. And if we went back to the previous election, it's why I tried to limit the numbers to 6. And as you know, Peter Dunn and Jim Anderton took us to the High Court and won, so the debate was expanded to 8 leaders. It does make for a difficult event. The amount of time each leader gets is smaller, and it is quite difficult. I agree with her, but at the same time, I felt that it should still go ahead, even given its shortcomings. And I felt from talking to her in that chair there that she was generally of the same view, but clearly behind the scenes she wasn't. And her and Key's people did a deal. I believe it originated in Labour's office. They sort of deny that, but they won't say who did the deal. So make up your own mind. But whatever the case is, they did a backroom deal to shut down proper debate with the smaller parties. You know, there is now going to be no debate that involves all the major parties.
How do you view Helen Clark's behaviour? Do you think she has stifled TV3's freedom and interfered?
I don't think she's stifled our freedom or interfered. But I think she is letting the electorate down. We know this is an MMP environment. This is a democracy. She only is asked to do it once every 3 years. or twice if you count TVNZ, twice in 3 years. I think she could handle it for that small time. 2 hours twice every 3 years. It seems to me to be undemocratic, and I think John Key, no matter who idea it was weak for going along with it, to be honest.
So, post-election, how's the scenario going to be in terms of coverage?
Once the campaign's finished, of course, all attention turns to election night, and I think it's going to be a very exciting night because I think this race is actually going to get closer, and we've got a poll out in the next few days which shows that the gap is narrowing. So I think we're in for a hell of a race on election night, and we're planning to have some special coverage of it. We've got what I think is a fantastic panel for the night. It includes Steve Mahari, ex-cabinet minister. It includes Matthew Hooton, a commentator, Linda Clark, a very respected political journalist, Jenny McManus, and Chris Wakaira, who used to be Radio New Zealand's Māori Affairs reporter. Very, very good reporter in my view, very well plugged into Māoridom, because I think the Māori Party is in for a lot of focus, a lot of attention, because I think they will, they're looking at this stage like they could well hold the balance of power. So we need to keep a very close eye on them on election night. John Campbell, of course, will host this, and we'll have an unprecedented, I think, number of reporters out with the various party leaders and in the various seats. We also have a joint deal with the Maori television station, MTS, to be in there some of the really interesting electorates like Parakura Horomia seat on the East Coast, where Derek Fox is going to be a strong candidate against him. So I think probably we'll have the most comprehensive coverage on the night. Traditionally, we also like to have a little bit of fun as well, and we're having some comedy done that will run during the night, particularly earlier in the night. And we also have our kids, what's called kids, KDIS graphic system, which in the last few elections has produced the fastest to air results service as well. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be a great night.
Thanks, Mark, for your time.
Thanks very much for having me on and giving us the opportunity to talk about some of this stuff.